Hi everyone, it's Jessica Dybzinski. Thanks for coming by today to watch. I am part of the Close to My Heart Twisted Sisters YouTube hop, and we are twisting some products from the new core catalog. I have chosen to work with the slider thin cuts. Now this is just a die cutting set that you can see has a bunch of little lines on it as well as 2 circles. It's really meant to create some interactive cards like this. I made this card. I used the one that is shown in the core catalog as an inspiration and made my own. And then I also used the stamp set here that kind of goes along with this thin cut set. And I'm really excited to make a whole lot more cards with it. But again, the purpose of this hop is to twist these products and show them in a different way. So one of the thoughts that I had, I love the little zigzag die on there. I thought that it would be fun to cut it out of a bunch of different colors, and then you could use that as an embellishment on one of your layouts. And so that's an idea. But the other one that I was thinking about using for today is the one that has the wavy line, because to me it looks like waves. And so I have these pool photos of my kids, and I'm going to follow this pattern here in the Make It From Your Heart Volume 3 book. And my thought was taking that paper that goes along the bottom of this pattern and using this particular die right here, the wavy one, to create my own waves, since they are playing in the pool in the photos. So at first I'm not really sure if I'm going to cut it out of that blue piece there or cut it out of separate paper and glue it on top. I'm also thinking I want to do a little bit of mixed media with some gloss spray on my background. So I don't have anything glued down just yet, only my photos on that green piece of paper. But I'm going to use it to make a little mark for myself exactly where that paper is going to go. And then that way when I do my gloss spray, I kind of have an idea of where I need to, work around. So normally, if you guys have watched any of my other videos, you've seen me do splatters a lot with these gloss sprays, but I don't normally spray them. And I thought, well, let's spray the gloss sprays this time. Why not, right? And so I'm just kind of pushing down the nozzle part way. I'm not even pushing it down all the way. I'm trying to control my sprays, but right away it kind of gets away from me and it creates a little bit more than I really wanted it to have. But I thought, okay, I've already sprayed my paper. I'm just going to carry on and do the other side as well. And then when I am done spraying these, I do always clean out my gloss spray nozzle just to make sure that the spray, because it dries with like a plastic kind of coating, and I don't want it to clog up the bottle. So when I'm done, I unscrew the top and then I just fill up some water in the bathroom sink and I spray it until it runs clean. So definitely clean this out when you are done spraying it so that that doesn't clog up on you. So this is what it looks like now. Again, I don't have anything glued down yet, but I'm going to go ahead and start thinking about some of my embellishments. I have this little sun piece here from another older stamp set, and then I'm also going to use, this is in my stash, it's called Fun in the Sun, and I'm going to cut the little kids out of there and color them in because I think that that's perfect. And then again, this is really all about this fun little slider thin cut here. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that out. I am going to end up doing it on Bluebird paper as well, but using the lighter side of the cardstock. So here you can see I've already gone ahead and prepped all of those pieces. I cut a whole bunch of them. It was really easy to do. I just stacked up my paper so that I was able to cut 2 at once. And then I die cut out those cute little kids and colored them in with my tri-blend markers. And yeah, so I've got all that ready to go. Now at this point, it's the next day, and when I came back to this and was looking at it, I really didn't like that gloss spray splatter on my background. It was too much. I really didn't want it to be quite so crazy. I had been looking for a little bit more of a controlled splatter and spray effect. So I'm going to kind of put those to the side and start back over again with some white daisy. And this time I'm going to create my background with some stamping instead. So I'll just save those other pieces and kind of use them somewhere else in another project so that they don't go to waste. So kind of sort of starting over again. Do you ever do that? Do you ever kind of walk away from a layout that you're making and then you come back to it the next day or a few days later and you're like, don't really know if I like that so much anymore? That's what happened to me. So this is another older stamp from my stash called Watercolor Impressions. There are a lot of background stamps available, and I will link some of those down below since this one is quite old. But I love having these kinds of stamps in my stash because it is just a really easy way to create that more controlled background look that you are going for. So whereas that gloss spray kind of got away from me, this I can definitely control a little bit more, and I am much happier with the way that this one turns out. So I will just go around that green piece of paper there and add a couple little splotches that are going to poke out from the side. I will do the same thing over on my right hand side for this layout. Oops, that one I didn't stamp very well. I forgot to put my foam underneath of it, but that's the beauty of the clear stamps. You can just line it right back up and it doesn't matter. And so there you can see that's how it's going to kind of come together. And again, I will do that over on the other side as well. And then there's also another little smaller stamp on the stamp set that has like water spots on it. So I'm going to go around where I have the bigger pieces and add that in as well. Okay, so now, yes, so much better than what I had going on earlier. Much happier with this way. All right, so now it's just time to kind of put some of those embellishments on and the title on as well. These photos were from earlier this summer. We were swimming in my mother-in-law's pool. My in-laws live on a farm, so it's funny. They just have this gorgeous backdrop to their little pool, and it was just a beautiful sunny summer's day. My son, anytime we go over to Nana's house to go swimming, he gets so excited that he puts his goggles on right as soon as we are leaving the house, and he wears them in the car on the way over there. So kind of silly, and I thought that these cute little kids worked perfectly here as some embellishments to go along with these photos. So the title came from that stamp set as well, and I did fussy cut out the sunglasses, and then I colored them in with a bluebird shimmer brush. And then I cut out the little mask or goggle guy as well to put over the boy's face. And so that's kind of where I think everything is going to go. I won't make you watch me glue all of them down. I do a little bit of foam tape for some of the pieces. Some of them are down flat. Like the sun here, I kind of messed up my stamping a little bit, so I'm just going to kind of put it where I've got those splotches peeking out from behind, and then that hides my mistake, so that worked out perfectly. And then here for the mask that goes over the little boy's face, I am going to pop that up on some thin 3D foam tape. And then, like I said, a lot of these I kind of mixed, if they're flat to the page or if they have some of that dimension. And then after this, it'll be just time to work on some of those waves that I had created. Now, after I was done with this page, or as I was kind of like getting close to the end of it and it was a little bit too late to turn back, I had a few other ideas for twisting this thin cut set as well. I thought, what I should have done is I should have cut a few actual pieces out of my bluebird piece there that goes at the bottom of my page and actually made it slide. Not all of the waves had to be sliders, but like one or two of them could have been. And then I could have attached like a little fish or something like that to the top of it. And that would have been fun. So I just think that, even though these are really meant for cards, interactive cards, there are so many ways that you could use this thin cut set on layouts or just in different sorts of ways. So, but definitely I think that these look like waves to me. What do you guys think? What are some other ideas that you have for the shapes that are in there? I can think of a lot. I'm sure I'm going to use this in a lot of different ways. So for them, I'm just kind of randomly attaching them. I'm trying to turn the direction a little bit. And then later, again, when I was done, I thought, I should have kind of lined up where they went from one page to the next. But I do have my pages in a 3-ring binder style album, so they're far enough apart that I don't think anyone will really notice when they're not going to be touching like this in my scrapbook. So, but I would have done that if I would have thought of that. All right, my last little bit, I had to put the girl down. Now that I have the waves on, I'll put the ball down flat to the page, and I'm going to pop her up on some foam tape. Now that I have changed the white part of my layout and I'm looking at it, it still seems a little bit too white. So I kind of went from, when I started this project, that I had too much going on in my background, and now I feel like I don't have enough in there as well. So what I'm going to do is I have gone into an older stamp of the month called Doodled Borders, and I pulled out this one that's got like a row of dots and open circles, and I'm going to stamp it in Canary all the way around the white part of my base pages. And it's just a little way to add a tiny bit more yellow into this layout. It's really just kind of in the photo. My son has the yellow inner tubes that he's floating in. And so I thought that and the sun is yellow. So just another way to kind of to bring some of that yellow in and break up that white space just a tiny little bit. So I was kind of all over the place on this project, kept changing my mind what I wanted to do. I'd fix one thing and then I'd create a new problem. I don't know, but I guess it all comes together. All right, so I'm going to add my journaling lines to this space here. I'm just using my T-square ruler and my Versamat, as well as a Sharpie pen to draw myself some lines every 1/4 inch apart. And then the last little thing I'm going to do, when I was cutting out all of my die cuts, I did cut this cloud out from the Build a Rainbow thin cut set. And I did this, I knew I was going to want to use it. I should have actually made myself a little bit of a bigger piece, but I'm going to use it as a stencil along with some texture paste. So I knew I wanted to have a bit of a scene with the sun and everything, so I definitely need some clouds to go along with that. So just using my texture paste and a palette knife, I go over that little stencil that I had made. And I'm not trying to put the texture paste on smooth and like thin. I'm creating a little bit of, texture, I guess. I'm making it kind of messy and organic looking, so that way the clouds definitely have a little bit of fluff to them. And I will do the same thing over on my left-hand page, adding 2 clouds up there. It's a bit of a subtle touch since it's white on white, but I think it just adds something fun and again kind of takes away from the plainness of that white background for my base pages. So when you use texture paste though, do make sure to clean it up right away because it will dry quite hard on your palette knife. So I'll show this to you and then go run off to clean that in the sink. Okay, so that's pretty much it at this point. Like I said, I had a couple of different ways that I thought you could use it. Definitely there are a lot of fun card ideas that I have swirling in my head as ways to use this thin cut set. It comes in this nice little bag and it has some instructions there. And then you do get all of those pieces. The circles are for creating, to put the decorative part on the front of the slider. So it's nice that you have those there as well. Yeah, lots of different ways that you can use it. All right, guys, I hope you have been enjoying all of the Twisted Sisters videos as people have been showing different ways to use things out of the new core catalog. Yesterday was Amanda Ross's video, and tomorrow we have Katie Taylor. So I will leave links to all the other ladies who are playing along down below. Make sure to check their videos out as well. And again, thank you so much for coming by and watching. I hope you have an awesome day. Happy crafting. Bye.